All right, looks like the sound is coming in from all platforms. We'll go ahead and get started here. I got 12:01. Let's go ahead and see what we got going. Let me just make sure I got everything in line here. Make sure we're good to go. All right. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Gilmore with the National Weather Service New Orleans Baton Rouge office located in Slidell, Louisiana. Thank you for joining. We're going to be talking about Hurricane Ida. We've had a lot of significant impacts already beginning across a big portion of southeast Louisiana and even across southern Mississippi. It's been a really long morning here, and we got a lot more to go. So I do want to go ahead and say for everyone that's just now joining, I know we're going to have a lot more people joining here for the next few minutes, but I will go ahead and say, passing along probably the latest information that we have from the National Hurricane Center as of 11:55 is Category 4 Hurricane Ida has made landfall. So it's this official call for landfall. Max winds of 150 miles per hour, pressure of 930 millibars. So that is a strong Category 4 hurricane. That's pretty significant for us to make landfall. The location was at Port Fourchon, which is in Lafourche Parish. So there's just absolutely terrible conditions ongoing right now across Grand Isle, all across southern Lafourche Parish, Terrebonne, Jefferson, Plaquemines Parish, all of coastal southeastern Louisiana. It's just getting pummeled right now by battering surge waves, high winds, pretty serious situation ongoing there. So we're going to kind of pass along and go through every little bit of this because as we were talking yesterday, we did a lot of these updates yesterday, and we've been doing these updates for a few days now. We've been saying that conditions will slowly deteriorate through the day on Sunday. So a lot of locations around the area are seeing winds that are, again, like I mentioned, it's going to start off breezy. We'll have bands of rain, which we've had. We've had already one tornado warning issued for Jackson County earlier. Actually, one tornado warning for Jackson County. I believe another one was issued for Bay St. Louis as well prior before that. So we've had a couple of isolated tornadoes across the Mississippi coast. So we've already had a lot going on here, and it's going to progressively continue through the rest of the day, and it could get worse for a lot of people. So let's go ahead and jump right into it with the latest from the National Hurricane Center's advisory. See if I can show that real quick. There we go. The latest from the National Hurricane Center, their latest advisory was issued at 10 a.m. Central Time, winds of 150. Of course, the big thing here is that it has made landfall. A little bit hard to see the track here. See, I got the full forecast on. Let's see if I can get a little closer. There we go. Showing you a little bit clearer of where the storm's going to be going across. Still going off towards the northwest, and it will be impacting a large part of our area of southeastern Louisiana and into southwestern Mississippi. So the storm's got more to go. Let's see if I can kind of draw a little bit more here and show you. Actually, let me show you radar imagery here. There we go. Loop that for you, showing you the latest radar imagery from our radar located in Slidell, which if I kind of put it right here is at the center of your screen. So scanning it to the southwest, and we view it a little bit closer, you see a very well-defined eye, still has a very good characteristic to it. We have noticed that the eye figure, as it was coming up towards the northwest, has appeared to have somewhat weak, kind of become disorganized a little bit, which is what happens in this case is called an eye wall replacement cycle. And fortunately, that stopped it from continuing to strengthen. It really strengthened overnight and early this morning, maxing around 150 mile per hour sustained winds. And then when this storm went through an eye wall replacement cycle, which is typical for major hurricanes, it kind of peaked right there and stopped. And I don't want to say it was good that it did that, but because this is still a very serious situation. But if I view it a little bit closer, you can see, let's see if I can go ahead and draw a little bit of areas here. Let me actually first stop the radar imagery from looping. There we go. If I draw off here, we got Homa. I'm circling you right here. Lockport. There's Thibodaux, Golden Meadow, Grand Isle, Pointe-a-la-Hatch. Okay, these are some bigger cities that are kind of getting some of the worst conditions right now. And obviously, you know where Ida is. There's the center of the storm. We are seeing the worst conditions right now that is occurring in the eye wall. So what is the eye wall? Where you know what the eye is. The eye is the clearing portion of the center of the storm. So there's your eye, but the eye wall is what is the heavier amount of precipitation you see surrounding it. So this entire area that I just circled inside this area, this is the eye wall. This is where we see some of the most damaging winds, the most damaging winds with it. So when we say the storm has 150 mile per hour winds, it's confined in this eye wall. There's significant impacts, of course, across it. We have other bands as well. There's a heavy rain band here, a couple of other smaller bands there, where there's going to be some locally higher winds. We've already had a gust of 116 miles per hour at Pilot Town at the very far southwestern tip of Plaquemines Parish. So we've had some damaging winds all across Plaquemines Parish and getting up towards parts of southern Jefferson and central Lafourche, but this eye wall is where we're most concerned about, and it is just absolutely inundating Grand Isle right now. The latest report we've got, as far as I know since I've started this broadcast, is 148 mile per hour winds. There's report of roofs being peeled off. It's pretty much the worst situation for Grand Isle right now. So Grand Isle, you're getting, hopefully there's really nobody there is all I can hope for, because this is the worst part of the storm, where you see these brighter colors that are remaining kind of stationary on that right side. That's where we're talking about the potential for 150 mile per hour winds within this region. So very concerned as this continues up towards the north. Now there is a large portion of this area. Unfortunately, I can't show this to you on this plot, but there is an what's called an extreme wind warning. That is a rarely issued product, and I can crudely draw where it's about issued. It's something about like this, which includes all of Plaquemines, a large portion of Terrebonne, Lafourche, and southern Jefferson parishes. So this is your extreme wind warning. This does alert your WIA. This goes straight to your cell phone. So if you were in Lockport, Ahoma, and Jean Lafitte, you probably heard this earlier. And this is for a real reason. That's because these winds that I'm showing you right here, these winds in this eye wall and surrounding it, all throughout the rest of the eye wall, has got winds of 150 miles per hour in the storm. So this is exactly what we've been warning for this entire time. This is what we've been talking about when we were so serious about this yesterday, and especially yesterday evening. We quit using the term possible and maybe. We're saying likely, because here it is. And all we can do is hopefully get people to prepare, because that's the best we can do. We can't physically tell people to go anywhere or make people go. We can only tell them the seriousness of the situation, and hopefully they make the right decisions. So let's see if I can go ahead and clear this real quick. And again, this is the part of the storm that is extremely devastating right now. Absolutely devastating. So that's what's going on right now. There's high winds all across southeast Louisiana now. Now the big question is, where is this going? Where is this going from here? And what's going to happen especially? So let me actually kind of move a little bit further north and show you the future area, the future track of the storm. So we know where the storm is now. Let me draw that for you again. Here's the eye right here, and there's the eye wall. I'm going to circle the eye and the eye wall. That's the worst part of the storm. This is going to continue off generally in this general direction, and I don't want people to be too specific at my lines I'm showing you here. There's very high winds all the way on the left and right side of this eye wall, so all of this area is going to be having some significant high wind impacts. So if I redraw that, we're talking about more like this. And this is all going to be heading generally up towards the northwest to eventual north, about like this, okay? Now, I know I'm calling it close I know there's a lot of people watching from New Orleans, and this is close to the line, but don't pay attention to this line. Don't say, well, New Orleans is spared. Well, it's not. So all these high winds, and especially the center core, is going to be continuing off towards the northwest, and this is going to include cities like Houma and Lockport. Houma, you have not seen the worst of it yet. Your conditions are deteriorating right now and will continue to deteriorate for the next few hours. And you will be dealing with extreme wind conditions here in the next few hours. That 150 mile per hour winds, the 148, that's reality. That's not estimated. That's not model guidance. That's not forecast. That's reality from what occurred just a little while ago from Grand Isle, going on in this eye wall, and it's heading up towards the north, to the northwest. So if I show you again, Thibodaux, if you're watching from Thibodaux, Houma, Lockport, any of this area, if I can zoom in a little bit and I get maybe a few more cities here, Raceland, Jay, LaRose, Golden Meadow, Giuliano, any portion. I would say anyone in any of these parishes. I'm not going to name cities. I'm just going to say that if you are in Terrebonne Parish, Lafourche Parish, Jefferson Parish, even St. Charles Parish, getting up the parts of St. John, St. James, the Baptist, and then Assumption, Plaquemines. If you live in the parish that I just listed right there, you're going to see extreme winds. There's no question about it. So, but some of the most extreme winds, though, and this is what I'm talking about, winds that you cannot survive in, is located directly with the eye itself. So there's still going to be extreme winds, gust to 100 mile per hour potential around some of these outer bands. Some of these other bands that are seen kind of rotating around, these all have the potential for higher winds. So it gets higher when you get closer to the storm, and then, of course, the calm in the eye. But this is going to be continuing generally in this general direction here in the next 6 to 8 hours, okay? So conditions will be deteriorating in this area for the next 6 to 8 hours. Beyond there, as we zoom out and go a little bit more towards the northwest, Baton Rouge, you're in the crosshairs. This storm is going to keep on going up towards the northwest. Now the storm will weaken because storms, they form over warm oceanic or Gulf waters, and they don't like land. That friction deteriorates storms, but it doesn't deteriorate them fast enough. So the storm is a Category 4. We will see the storm continue to deteriorate some as it continues off towards the northwest. We're expecting right now at least Category 1 to possibly gust to Category 2 strength going up through Baton Rouge later this afternoon, evening, and tonight. So Baton Rouge, you are not out of the you're not out of the woods at all right now. You're currently, I got a current METAR observation here telling me you're sustained 22 miles per hour, gust 29. So you're having some breezy conditions in Baton Rouge right now, and it'll stay that way for a few hours, but it'll start to get worse. It's going to get more breezy later towards mid-afternoon. Very strong winds later this evening, and especially overnight tonight. That's going to be your time where we're going to see some very life-threatening wind impacts. So this whole trajectory is just going to kind of continue up like this. I know that's a crude drawing, but that's where we're going to see some of the highest impacts. Now I'm going to address New Orleans. I've been drawing these lines really close to New Orleans, but I don't want you focusing on that. We still have the potential for high winds across New Orleans, and people across the area need to be aware of that. Heavy rain is increasing now. The potential for power outages is going to be very real. And of course, we know that there's a lot of portions of southeast Louisiana that cannot handle a lot of rain, and it's already raining in New Orleans, and it's not going to stop for a very long time. So flash flooding is going to be a very real concern across the city as well. So as I zoom in a little bit closer to show you the current radar now, New Orleans is in the center of the screen. You got Lake Pontchartrain up towards the north. If I loop that, you can kind of see that how the rain has been increasing, and you see where it's coming from. It's kind of coming from these bands from the southeast. It's not going to stop. So you may have periods where it may taper off, but it's going to be heavy rain consistently, and we may be issuing some flash flood warnings when the time comes later, when we find out that this is going to be more life-threatening, which is going to be very likely here later this afternoon and evening. So that's the current situation with radar. I do want to actually jump over here too and talk about the isolated tornado risk. If I zoom out here, and I know it's really hard to see, that's why I got my really good tool here, the draw, and I'm going to kind of circle this the best I can. If I circle this a little bit, there we go. Everywhere from this line, so that includes Tangipahoa Parish, Pike County, basically along and east of I-55 is under a tornado watch. And that's because, as we were mentioning yesterday, we're going to get these bands. And inside these bands are going to be these cells. And in these little cells are going to want to spin up and quickly produce a water spout and then could drop a tornado. So we've already had 2 tornado warnings issued today. And even over Mobile's area has been issuing tornado warnings as well. They've been having, you see these storms that are just racing up from the southeast. This tornado threat will continue for the rest of the day tonight and through even early tomorrow as the storm continues off towards the northwest. Be aware there could be tornado warnings. They could pop up and they're going to be very fast. These storms are moving 40, 50 miles per hour. You see how fast these storms are moving. So they come and go very quickly, but they can be deadly as well. So that's why we're going to be issuing warnings when we need to. So as I go back here, I'm going to kind of show my screen here as I show a few other things to kind of prepare my slides that I have here to show you when it comes to some of the threat graphics that we have. There we go. It looks like we're ready to share. Let me go back. There we go. This is the wind threat potential impact that I was just talking about. You see that we've been showing this for a few days. These 4-tiered colors that you see here. I've been talking about it. I talked about it last night. If you watched the Facebook Live, we were talking about those yellow colors are low-end tropical storm, orange, high-end tropical storm. Red is Category 1 to that purple is Category 2 winds. You see that that's a large area. In New Orleans, you're in it. Covington, you're in it. Baton Rouge, Houma. It's getting close to Macomb, but you're in that red area as well. Expect strong potential for hurricane force winds in that location as well. If you know your county and parish, which I remember, I specifically remember doing several Facebook Lives talking about it's important to know your location on a map. If you see your parish on this map and you are under a red or purple color in any part of your parish, you're going to be seeing some very dangerous winds, potentially life-threatening, widespread power outages, and tree damage that could cause disruption of everyday travel. In fact, you shouldn't be traveling in any of this, but if you have somewhere to go tomorrow, it's going to be very hard to do that. So be aware of that. And this includes New Orleans. That's why I didn't want to draw that fine line or for you to pay attention to that fine line. This is coming up to New Orleans as well. So get ready for very strong, damaging winds across the area. Houma, you're already starting to see conditions go downhill. Baton Rouge, you're coming later today. Cities like Hammond, Independence, I've already said Macomb, Clinton, Livingston, Gonzales. I can name cities all day long, but the whole point here is that you have the potential for seeing winds greater than 110 miles per hour. This is the reason why we issue that extreme wind warning across the coast. And we'll probably continue to extend this up towards the northwest if these winds maintain this strength. So that may alert your wireless emergency alert to let you know that that eye wall, those strong winds with the eye, is approaching. Now, talking a little bit about storm surge, that's already occurring. That's already going on right now. 12 to 16 feet, Port Fourchon to the mouth of the Mississippi River. We're already getting inundation occurring now there. It's going to continue to get worse across coastal Mississippi. We're getting reports of water rising across Lake Pontchartrain and Lake Maurepas already. Storm surge extends all the way across the coast, all the way to our friends to the east, across into the coastal Alabama, Florida Panhandle, the Dauphin Island, Fort Morgan, Gulf Shores, going all the way to Pensacola, Fort Walton Beach. All of them, they're dealing with some heavy surf and some minor surge conditions there as well. So it gets worse as you head towards the west, where we are located here. Just be aware that storm surge is ongoing. I'm not 100% sure if I have some of this videos I've had earlier from some of the storm surge. Looks like I do not. But earlier there was some video of some storm surge. But yeah, it looks like I don't really have that there. But I'll just go ahead and jump back to the PowerPoint presentation. Here's some of the tide observations as of 10 o'clock. And some of these observations, this one right here, to the one you see to the left is Pilot Town. And this is a graph showing you the increase of it. You see that little bit of a dip there of the levels. The little dip there of the levels does not mean the storm is over. As the storm is passing, this is actually may go back up again. So this is very serious situation. I'm just showing you here also in Grand Isle. That's continuing to go up as well. Some more tide observations. I know this is a little bit hard to see for these observations. That's Pascagoula to the left, Waveland to the right. All of these are rising and will continue to rise for the rest of this evening. Expected storm total rainfall, we're still calling for that 10 to 15 inch range with a swath of 15 to 20 inches possible in the middle portion of basically around within New Orleans, all on the I-55 corridor. Now, we've been trying to bullseye that point for a while now. It looks like confidence is relatively high there still, that we're going to have some very dangerous flooding rain conditions for that I-55 corridor. And because of that, that's why we have a high risk of excessive rainfall in the area. Now, this goes a little bit further to the east, if you've noticed, from the high wind threat. This has actually been extended to the east since I last did this Facebook Live last night. So this includes Hancock County, portions of Pearl River, and Harrison County as well. So this has been extended east, and that's because we may get these rain bands. And I was trying to draw them yesterday. As the system's continuing off towards the northwest, the system's going to kind of get more of a comma shape to it, and you're going to get these rain bands form, and they're going to kind of keep training over the same area. And they're not going to move much. And it's going to just keep going and going and going. You're going to get excessive rainfall and dangerous flooding. So we're going to kind of jump back here again. Show you also river flooding is very significant. Now this is updated. This is not updated right now, but we just want to show you that if you live in an area that is susceptible of seeing river flooding from freshwater or even surge coming up some of these rivers, near coastal areas, you could see some major flooding. We already got 3 points forecast to reach major across parts of Tangipahoa and St. Tammany parishes, many of them going into moderate. So if you typically see flooding from rain, you're going to get a lot of flooding from this one as well. Isolated tornadoes, we just talked about that. And we talked about how there's a little bit more of an enhanced area across coastal Mississippi where we're tracking those cells. Got to watch for that as well. Tornado watch remains in effect. And this is a summary. I'm not going to read all of this. If you want to read it, go for it. This is where we're just talking about that this is a Category 4 hurricane. I say approaching southeast Louisiana. It's continuing across southeast Louisiana now. It's made landfall as of 11:55 as a Category 4 with winds of 150 miles per hour. So these are some of the significant impacts that are starting to see now and will continue to see here for the next 12 to maybe 16 hours. It's going to be a long run here. So conditions will, again, continue to deteriorate across the area. And if I go back here, let's see if I can actually pull up the radar again. to show you the storm, to show you this is the hurricane that we've been talking about now for a very long time, that is making landfall. It made landfall in Port Fourchon. Significant impacts, life-threatening storm surge, all is occurring across the area. And we've been watching constantly. We've been having so many reports coming in. I'm going through some of the ports right now that we've been seeing. Of some, we've had Highway 11 flooding before the Twin Spin in the Orleans Parish side. We've had flooding along Lakeshore Drive in New Orleans. Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, St. Tammany is closed. Yeah, that's another thing. St. Tammany has curfew. That's in effect. We've had high wind gusts of 130 to 140. Inundation on the Beach Boulevard and the Pascagoula as well. We've been watching live cams. We have all the feeds that are going on now, showing you some of the conditions there. I'm showing you right now. You can't survive in that type of environment. This is why we tell people to get out, because you can't survive in that. That is just terrible. I'm trying to find a G-rated word to call that. It's terrible. So that's what is going on across coastal southeast Louisiana right now. Just an absolute disaster ongoing right now. So if I show you satellite as well, I wanted to show you that too. This was really heart-wrenching for us to see the rapid strengthening of the storm when it occurred earlier this morning. We knew what was going on when we were getting constant reports of just bombing low. What we mean by bombing means just rapid strengthening. And we get the symmetric storm with that eye like that. It's just heart-wrenching. And we've been really trying to let people know ahead of time about this and really be as transparent as we could be. We've been doing these updates for you. We want to be as transparent. We're human too. It's hard to see this. It's hard to know what it's doing, and it's hard to know that the impact that it's doing to life. So we're going to get through it. I said that yesterday. The sun will shine. We'll get through it, of course. You mentioned I haven't talked anything about preparations, because that should have been done way long time ago. Baton Rouge, the storm is coming up that direction. Anywhere east, that will be along and west of I-55, which includes New Orleans. The conditions will be deteriorating as the storm continues off towards the northwest. It's going to be getting into cities like Woodville, New Roads, the Iberville Parish, Point Coupee, the Felicianas, getting up to, like I said, Wilkinson, Livingston Parish, east and west Baton Rouge. If I'm missing a parish that's west of I-55, it's coming towards your area. So this is going to be a serious situation. We've already been seeing widespread power outages, and they're already occurring. The reports are just exponentially increasing because the infrastructure just can't handle winds of this magnitude. And usually we have trees falling, and it blows these transformers really fast, and you go out and you stay out for a while because just the sheer magnitude of the power outages across the area is going to be very hard for power crews to get down and try and get this all back on. When the storm is over, which it will be over, we're seeing that the storm will progressively, and that's been a lot of questions we've been seeing too. We're wondering when it's going to end. It will end. The storm will continue off towards the north, almost due north, and then back towards the northeast, riding around the Mississippi River, and it will be impacting parts of central Mississippi tomorrow. Now, when it does that, the storm will be going off towards the north, but we still may have lingering rain bands behind it, even though the storm is moving back towards the north, away from the area. So heavy rain may remain a risk all through tonight, and then especially tonight and into early tomorrow. But the winds will steadily lower. As the storm moves off towards the north, the winds will get a little bit better, and conditions will get a little bit better as well. Because typically as the storm moves towards the north, we get dry air from the northwest that likes to rotate into it, and that kind of gets it to dry out on that bottom southern quadrant of the storm. So perhaps some good news there, that we'll try and dry out around Baton Rouge at some point late tomorrow morning, maybe tomorrow afternoon. So conditions will improve. And if you're without power, I have to say this too, if you're without power and you venture around and see a line down, don't get anywhere near it. If you see damage, if you can report it, but don't get anywhere near it. Do not get near a down power line. Do not drive over a down power line, or don't do anything like that. Stay away from it. Stay indoors. This is why we've been telling people to prepare and stay in with this type of thing. Don't go out and sightsee. Don't go out and take pictures. Just stay in. We don't want your life at risk. If you're running a generator, make sure you practice proper precautions. We've been putting that on Twitter constantly about carbon monoxide poisoning. Make sure your generator is running in a well-ventilated area. Okay, we have unfortunately, there's a lot of fatalities every year from people running generators due to carbon monoxide poisoning. We're going to be posting Facebook, Twitter updates constantly. I apologize. I'm a little tired. I kind of just realized that as I did this broadcast. But we're going to be doing more of these updates. In fact, we're going to start rapid fire shooting these updates out with myself and absolutely amazing forecaster, Christopher Bannon. He's been doing some of these as well. He's going to be helping me out by doing these because I got to take a break. I got to go back and do other things. We're running a 24/7 operations here. We have so many forecasters here right now, and we're here for the long run to protect you. I mean, that's just what we do, and we will continuously do this as long as we're here. So Christopher will be taking over, and he will be talking about the latest. He'll talk about some other information because we do briefing styles a little bit differently. He's, just pay attention to him. He'll have great information to pass along to you. I'll meet you back also after Chris. So we'll kind of be tag teaming, and as we go through the rest of the afternoon, talking about the latest with the storm. And we'll have more reports to pass along to you. But for the fastest information, follow local officials. Follow on Twitter and Facebook. Follow any type of media outlet. Broadcast meteorologists are helping us pass reports along as well. We're all working together here. We're all a team, and it's really good to see when we have all of our assets coming together to kind of help this with this one mission of protection of life. So we're going to keep doing this. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll promise to do another update very shortly. And again, that'll be Chris coming on, and then I'll be following along after that. So for those watching, and I told you that the impacts are going to be getting worse, take it seriously. Okay, this is extremely life-threatening situation, going all the way up to Baton Rouge. I can't stress that enough. And we'll continue to message that as each broadcast goes on. So we'll end it there. And we'll meet back in a little bit.